Welcome to the Dornan Diaries podcast, a podcast where we share real stories from people shaping our business, our projects, and our industry. On this show, we go beyond the project milestones and technical delivery. We focus on the people behind the work, what drives them, what challenges they've faced, and what they've learned, and how they're helping shape the future of engineering and construction. In season 1, we're partnering up with the Women at Dornan network, our employee resource group dedicated to empowering female talent across all levels. Their mission is simple but powerful: to create an inclusive environment that promotes career growth, mentorship and well-being for the women at Dornan and beyond. Season 1 brings you voices from within Dornan and from outside, with guests who are leading the way in our industry and pushing them boundaries of what's possible. Each episode is a conversation about career, resilience, leadership and the support systems that help us thrive. We'll hear from those making a difference and setting new standards for equality empowerment in construction. So whether you're just starting your career, looking to grow, or curious about what it takes to build a meaningful path in this sector, you are absolutely in the right place. This is the Dornan Diaries podcast.
Hi everyone, welcome to the Dornan Diaries podcast, episode 1. My name is Alison Murphy and I'm joined today by 3 people who had played key roles in the launch of our Women at Dornan network. And it's fitting that we're doing the series now, as it's 1 year on from the relaunch last year in 2025. So Josie, take us back to the beginning of the Women at Dornan network and the motivation behind the launch.
To the very, very far back.
The very, very far back.
We've never shied away from this as our second attempt. It's good to acknowledge the failures that happened previously, but we learned from them. So we obviously set up a women's network back in around COVID. It was just a little bit of, it failed a small bit due to obviously lack of interest, COVID, everything kind of a whole spiral. So then Micheál obviously came to me then when I moved back to Ireland and said, look, would you get the band back together? I said absolutely, but we'll do it this way. We'll do it completely different. So we had 2 face-to-face forums with the women in London and inviting women to Cork as well. We had a facilitator. So we kind of set out a better precedence this time, that we were structured. We were going to do this the way it should be. So we kind of got the ball rolling. We had the 2 feedback sessions. We obviously presented our findings then to Micheál, Dave and Paul Flynn. And then we just took it from here, and there we are. That was about 18 months ago. We had a core committee of 4 people that helped initially with the feedbacks and with all that information that was taken in from that, and then we presented it then to the 3 gents.
Excellent. And just to clarify for everyone, Josie is a procurement manager with Dornan. She was central to the launch of the Women's Network, or the relaunch especially, and has played a pivotal role in rolling out the practical initiatives around the network. Magda is part of our wellbeing team. She's the head of wellbeing at Dornan and plays a vital role in supporting the employees with wellbeing throughout the company. And Magda was actually part of the original network. She was part of the crew, the original network, and now sits in a legacy role. So Magda, I suppose, takes back to the start as well, where, you saw that there was space for this within the company and that there was a real need to set out a network like this.
Yes, there is a need for networks like that. And the spaces like that are important because they make experience visible. And I think in any organization, particularly like in construction, if you are part of a minority group, it can be easy to feel isolated. You may question yourself, you may assume certain experiences are personal rather than systemic. That's why the networks like Women at Dornan helps to create psychological safety. It gives people a place to connect, reflect, and realize they are not alone. And once experiences are shared collectively, they can be addressed structurally rather than individually. So, as Josie said, there was a first attempt to make the Women at Dornan happen, and it didn't work out. And I remember that at one point, the network stopped being discussed at the group wellbeing committee. And I remember the feeling that something important was missing. There was suddenly an empty space, and with it, a sense that certain voices were no longer being heard. So that was the moment I realized it couldn't simply fade away. It needed to be rebuilt, but differently. And the key difference, as Josie said, was the leadership support and the structure we created with the second attempt of creating Women Dornan Network.
Great. And we also have Micheál O Connor, who's the Group Managing Director at Dornan. And Micheál has also supported the network from the outset, ensuring that it has leadership backing throughout the company. So Micheál, from a leadership perspective, when the idea first emerged about the network, why did you feel it was important to support it?
Thanks, Alice. Great to have us all on the call. Very important topic. I suppose, as you mentioned earlier, supporting it the second time round. I suppose the nucleus of this is looking at the broader sector and the broader industry. At the moment, typically companies like ourselves in the construction industry have employment metrics of about 20% for women in our businesses. And really, we feel that, we're not recruiting fully from 50% of the population. So for us, it's about really supporting broader women in the construction industry. Some of the initiatives we've done around this are getting into schools to try and encourage young girls to take STEM subjects, working with various networks, and then creating. We felt ourselves that really we wouldn't be doing justice to our initiatives if we didn't create a network within Dornan to try and promote the women within Dornan to be more successful. Really, when we look at the metrics around women in construction, while it is typically around 20%, for us, one of the key things is that that's not even a true reflection, because there can be a lot of admin roles as part of that 20%. There can be a lot of peripheral and support roles. And what we want to do is to encourage more women to get into the core disciplines within the industry and within our business. We're delighted to see some women now coming in as apprentices, working on sites, and we're encouraging an increase in women in engineering, women in quantity surveying. We're delighted to see that there's a great number of women in health and safety. But there are other aspects as well: quality, planning, and general construction activities. And for us as well, it's about setting a structure in place to help promote women within the business. That's, just not, I suppose, promote a network, but actually to get down to grassroots and to try and support women advance their careers within Dornan. And the key thing for us really around the Women at Dornan network is to do that, to create one of the other things I suppose we're aware of as well is that for a variety of reasons, men tend to typically have a better social forum to network. And part of that networking is something that can advance a person's career. I know myself, for example, if I look back over my career, the various networks that I had been involved in that helped me to progress. So we're very keen to create similar structure within Dornan, where it gives the women within the company the opportunity to network, to share stories, share experiences, to discuss the core needs within the business, and to give us feedback as to how we can support those needs and what we need to put in place to make the career paths of the women in our business that bit easier, and how we can support those career paths. And as well, I suppose it should be remembered that Dornan is a European business now properly. We're headquartered in Ireland. We have businesses in the UK, Netherlands, Denmark, Germany, Switzerland, Belgium, Sweden, and we're embarking in Spain now as well. So that's quite a diverse group. So this network is there to bring all of the women together from various geographies, various backgrounds, various cultures, and give them a sense of unity and give them a sense of real purpose within the business. And it's all about really strengthening the business overall. And we feel that if we can promote more women in the business, right up to very senior leadership levels, we'll get greater diversity of thought, greater diversity of input, and we'll make ourselves a better and more robust business, and a business that's properly representative of the people within the business. So it's a huge undertaking for us, something that we're very excited about, and we're absolutely delighted with the direction that the group has taken second time round, and delighted with Josie's stewardship around that, and really how she has brought so many people together. I think the last committee meeting I attended, there was 30 in the room. I felt very much in the minority. But it was fantastic to see, women of all levels and all ages participating and being so enthusiastic and so driven and really pushing for a common goal. So it's fantastic to support that, and a great level of excitement around it.
Yeah, and I suppose with that, Josie, as well, we're 1 year on now. Was there a moment throughout this last year where you felt the traction as well in getting all of those people into one room and involved in the network?
It's pivotal, like as Micheál said, it is to get all the women. We've meetings every 4 weeks online, but I think it's more important that we sit in front of our advocator and our sponsor, Micheál and David, as a group, because I think feelings come across better. You present yourself better in face to face. And I suppose from our first meeting where we had everybody sit in front of Micheál and David, it was kind of we can get shit done here. Like, it's not something that either the girls that are in the network, in the committee, are going to shy away from, and it's not something that Micheál and David are going to shy away from either. So that was kind of the moment for me, that when you have all these ideas coming at you, facilities, about guidance around our facilities, PPE, and all the other stuff that we're doing about a gender pay gap, like it is that moment where you're sitting in front of everybody and you're all discussing that freely.
And I think what was also important, sorry to chip in, but it is the trust that we established within the network, that it's okay to talk about difficult subjects. It's okay to raise the voice up. And we encourage women to do that. Obviously, it came within the time. But I think this is one of the biggest success. They feel like their voices are being heard. There is a space for that. And the leadership is there to listen and is open for that. That's a big success for this this network.
And Magda, on that then, would you have faced challenges in your own role or since working with Dornan that made you get involved in this type of work from the beginning?
So I joined Dornan in 2018. So in March, it would be 8 years I'm with the business.
Congratulations.
And thank you very much. It felt fast and very significant. And when I joined as an administrator, and I built my career from there. And yes, I faced challenges because I'm a woman in a male-dominated company. I'm originally from Poland, and I work in a mental health and well-being, which in a construction is not the most traditional area. So what I have learned is that the change often creates resistance. And resistance doesn't always mean opposition. Sometimes it just means uncertainty. So understanding that has shaped how I approach inclusion, with patience, with empathy, but also with persistence.
Excellent. And same question to you, Josie. Was there any challenges you faced in your role throughout your career in Dornan?
Yeah, I mean, to have, you don't necessarily have to have a male ally to help you with your career, but it certainly does help if you have someone that is in your corner backing you all the way. But there is prejudice out there. There is definitely, issues out there on site and issues in the office where women just don't feel like they're heard. I'm lucky enough, I'm loud enough. I'm not afraid to go after what I want. But again, it was important to me to always have someone in my corner, which I have, and I can, I'm great at that. I'm delighted with that support. At one stage, I like Magda, my story was that I came in as a dock controller. I was finding it hard inside when I adjusted down to London, and I just had a conversation with Barry O'Hay, and next thing I'm here. All it was that my role could slightly change from site, and I just wasn't comfortable, but I always liked procurement. I like the buy-in part of my job. So without having that ally in Barry, or without, Barry being that support and that sponsor as such, I wouldn't be sitting here right now. I probably would have walked out the door, to be honest, at that stage. But I'm here now.
Excellent.
Rocking it.
And And you touched on, I suppose, the importance of allyship for the network as well. So maybe you might just give us some more information, I suppose, about the key initiatives that the Women at Dornan are rolling out, and how the allyship can support them on that.
So I spoke to a little bit when I spoke to Fiona Buckley on her podcast about allies and everything else. Fiona's fantastic. She's kind of she's helping us to kind of transform this allyship program that we have. Allies are quite important to advocate for those that can't advocate for themselves. Their position of privilege to get the voice of a woman that may be suffering with career, like may want to further develop themselves, even around facilities on site, that they're having that conversation, that open conversation. So what we've done and what we're doing this year is that we've obviously we've selected allies within the business. We've now categorized that in a tier 1 and a tier 2, with a tier 1 being a champion, a tier 2 then that supports in a different kind of way. The tier 1 is more in depth with us, more involved with the network, gets to be a part of our meetings, and is a bit of a feedback, is more hands-on. We introduce ally walks again as well, so that there is that time to come away from the desk, come away from the office, and you can have that conversation with your ally. So we're really promoting it this year. We're working hard on getting that allyship out there, because it's quite important. Even though there's 30 of us on the committee, we can only do so much, that we do need our male counterparts. And even we have females that have joined the allyship program, because one department felt, I think they were getting so many calls from sites, they felt they wanted a little bit of training around it and how they can support people calling in. So it's not just males. We like females are also really good advocates and allies for women around them as well.
Excellent. And you've done some work around the sites as well in terms of PPE.
Yeah. So we've developed with our diversity inclusive guys that are on our committee, that we've after drafted up guidelines. So when we're a GC, that we go in and we show, we set the standard when we're the GC on a project, and then once we get that right on our own projects, then we can go back to our clients and go, well, this is what we're doing. What are you doing? So it's kind of it's still a work in progress, but we're getting there. We have to go to sites. We're doing an audit on sites, and we'll feed that back in line with the guidelines then to the site team there, and see how we can better improve things. It was one of the things that came up out of the forum discussions, was around facilities and PPE, and even female products. So then when it comes to the PPE, we've engaged with Leo Workwear in the UK and V12 Boots in the UK. They've given a presentation to us. They've shown us the products. The products are available to everybody in the business to buy. V12 have actually gone and visited a site in Belgium and shown the boots. Like it's a big thing. Like when you see something on the camera, it's completely different to see it in the physical. So they've gone out to site and they've done that. So that we're looking to do more than presentations throughout this year, and get to site a bit more to have a look at the facilities and see how we can better them.
Excellent. Micheál, so as part of the network, a lot of these issues, they're viewed as women's issues, but how do they impact the business as a whole? How would you see that impacting the business as a whole if we were to get these right?
The happy wife, happy life mantra.
I think it goes back to something that Magda said earlier. And by the way, just to pick up on Magda and, being the head of well-being, for me, I think we have a world-class well-being group within the business, and I really believe that, and great credit to Magda for all her endeavours and efforts over the years. It was amazing, on that, and the Women's Network is kind of on a similar journey. I mean, when we started well-being and really embraced it as a group, you had the old crusty guys on site, the strong men who kind of look down the nose at this and consider it to be soft and cuddly and, what's all this about? But it's fantastic in the last year to 18 months to see these same guys now actually embracing it and understanding it and believing in it and believing in how that benefits people and how, we go back to psychological safety and how psychological safety helps everybody and helps improve people's performance. And if we can continue to embed that across the business, we're going to become a better business. And, the impact for women at Dornan is the very same. It's about psychological safety. It's very hard to send a young woman to a site if she feels that the site conditions kind of preclude her in some way, if she feels that the site conditions for her are different than they are for her male counterpart. So it's really important for us to make sure that all of our women in the business, irrespective of what roles they're in, do really feel comfortable that there is psychological safety, that they can be their authentic selves, that they can speak about their own issues and about the day to day problems that they have in their life, and that they're going to be considered and that they're going to be understood. That's the real thing, I suppose, as well about Women at Dornan. There's a huge education aspect to this that we all have to understand better. How each of us are feeling, male and women, but I suppose especially women, because it's been something that's maybe been overlooked in the industry for too long. So this gives an opportunity for women to educate their male counterparts in terms of some of the aspects that they can be experiencing. And that will lead to greater understanding and greater empathy. The bottom line here is that if we can have a happy workforce, a psychologically safe workforce, a workforce that believes that we care for one another, a workforce that believes fundamentally that we keep one another safe, irrespective of your gender or your creed or your class or your background, that will help a person to feel better about their role and will help a person to perform better in their role. And that's what we want to do. We really want to have an inclusive business, and we really want to have a business where all people within the business, feel personal reward from their experience of working with Dornan, and that they can come to work in the morning, know that they're going to be in a safe environment, and that they could go home in the evening and feel, enriched for their day's work. And really, that's very much the core of what we're trying to do around the Women's Network.
And what would you say to somebody, I suppose, who questions the value of an employee resource group such as the Women at Dornan network? How would you, I suppose, try to include them on the conversation?
Well, I think a network group like this, I think if you don't put in the hard yards about making a group like this successful, then you're just paying lip service to it. And really, you have to do that. And that's so, as Josie said at the outset, we failed the first time around, but I was really keen that we didn't, kind of sit on our hands and say, look, we tried, but it didn't work. So really, I was very keen that we try again a second time and learn from our mistakes the first time around and try and be the better for it. And you know what? If we fail a second time, we'll try a third time. And the bottom line is, that for me, we just have to do this. There isn't a choice. It's just a core part of our business. It's a core part of what we're trying to achieve. And it's a core part of becoming a better business. And look, all businesses are about their people. And if you're not supporting your people and giving a platform for your people to be the best that they can be, then you're doing a disservice to them. And for us, really, this network is about that. And it's about really giving women a voice, giving women a forum whereby they can be supported, giving them a forum whereby they can educate us, leaders in the business, as to what the issues are, because they don't always surface up to us and we don't always hear them. So then this is a forum for us to be told, face to face, this is what's going on, this is what's needed, this is what you need to correct. Because we're always learning, we're always looking for ideas to improve. So that's an important forum. And, if we can get more women into the business, like we're a growing business. So for us, it's all about recruitment. It's all about getting more people into the business. And as I said at the outset, if we're not recruiting from 50% of the population, as in the women, in our society, then we're not recruiting from the full pool of the workforce. So it's really important for us to do that, and it's really important for us to be seen as an employer of choice. And it's really important for us to try and get more women into our business and more women leaders in our business.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks very much, Micheál. Magda, so you're now in a legacy role with the Women at Dornan network. So you've stepped back from your duties.
Our first legacy role.
Legacy role. What would have been, I suppose, the proudest achievement either the network has done or yourself throughout that time?
I think the relaunch itself, but more importantly, the fact that it now has a structure, a leadership, sponsorship, and a clear objectives. It's no longer an informal group. It's a recognized network, and that's a big success for me.
Excellent. And what about yourself, Josie? What's the biggest learning throughout the last year?
I suppose for me personally, I've grown a lot of confidence with it. There's no way I would be doing a podcast recording if I hadn't been kind of pushed out of my comfort zone. If
None of us
if someone hadn't said to me 12 months ago, look, will you go up there and do that CIF recording, will you?
Yeah. Who would say that?
And that's kind of, for me, that's what I want everybody in the network to get out the committee. Like I'm very conscious, there's some shrieking violets there that kind of sit in the background and they do a lot of graft, but sometimes their voices don't be heard. And I as a chair, I kind of, it's my job to make sure that they are getting their voices heard, that they are getting that time with Micheál and David as well. Because, although the guys go to site and everything else, you don't get that time in front of them. You don't get to present yourself and who you are and what you are within the business. So that's kind of pivotal for me, like that. It is very, very uplifting, especially when you get the group of girls together and we all have a common goal, and that we're very enthusiastic about Dornans, and we're very enthusiastic about the network as well.
So I suppose within the network, then everyone has different types of roles. So if you were to, I suppose, explain to somebody that's not familiar with what's going on behind the scenes at Women at Dornan, how would you explain all the work that's being done?
Like, as I said, we meet every 4 weeks, and every 4 weeks something new comes to the table, a new topic comes. Like at the moment we're working on the gender pay gap and how we can make that better, and how we can work on a plan around getting it, because there's a misconception about gender pay gap that it's about pay discrepancies between male and female, but when you actually dig down into it, it's about bonuses. It's about, again, like Micheál said, about the site admin versus the site roles. There's a lot into it, and we've kind of done a deep dive on it, and we're continuing to do that. So that's it's kind of important to do these things. And again, as we go into each meeting, we kind of have we have a fresh outlook and things, and we keep going. We might get a knockback and not win certain awards, but there is awards that we will chase and that we will be so proud to represent Dornans and the network.
Absolutely.
And we are in this together.
We're in this together.
When one of us shines, all of us shine.
That's how we're saying.
Yes. We're stronger this time around.
I think that, just picking up on something Josie said there about the giving a voice to everybody and the person that's not heard, I think that's really important. If we can create an environment where the people who are not typically heard have an opportunity to be heard, that's really important, because everybody's got ideas. I firmly believe that people come to work to be the best that they can, and that they want to do a good job, and we don't always hear from them. So if we can hear from those people, if they can contribute and give us ideas and help us be better, then collectively we're all better for that. And just another point, you're asking all the questions, Alison, so how about yourself and your role in the network and so forth? And what's your takeaway, and what are your observations?
Yeah, I suppose, look, similar. I wasn't there for the initial launch of the initial program.
So you were on sabbatical, weren't you?
I was on my sabbatical. So yeah, that's exactly what I was. When the opportunity arose again to join it, I was interested, skeptical, I suppose, a little bit, like everyone, going into it. But I found that first information, or that networking, the workshop that we did the very first day, like that opened my eyes to so much. There was so much talked about, from site, and obviously I only have the perspective from even being a female in the office, so kind of it really opened my eyes to other initiatives that were required on site. Some great discussions came out of that day about, and I don't think they were all necessarily to do with women at Dornan, but, maybe some issues throughout the company in general that just came to light in that day, just even about the structure of the company, what people were familiar with when they joined, and the onboarding and everything. So they were just like, I suppose, they were easy things to combat from the get-go. but it was great to get the perspective from everyone on site and everything. And I think the Women at Dornan network has come back stronger this time. I think the structure of it, the fact that we have individual roles within the network as well. I'm part of the diversity and inclusion section of it. We have communications. We have our, events team,
research and
insights, and everyone has a particular role that they're very interested in, training, etc. But it all comes together at the end. So we're all still working together, to ensure that everyone is getting adequate training within the network. So to me, even though I wasn't there first time round, I feel like it's making more of an impact this time round, because of all those initiatives that have been rolled out.
So you were the missing link, clearly.
Well, didn't want to say. But no, it's great, and like there is huge support, I think, this time around from allies as well. Like you said yourself, Micheál, sometimes, or like a couple of years ago, people wouldn't have even, divulged in a conversation around some of these topics, whereas awareness and all the training, and I think people are just realizing, actually, this is not going away. This is actually, this is something we really just have to tackle and just embed it in the company operations and just let it be a part of the way we work rather than a load of initiatives. It should be just like, we should just be doing this every day anyway in general. So yeah, so I'm delighted that has been such a success the last year. So
well, we won't pat ourselves on the back too much. There's a lot of work to be done.
There's still loads of work to be done, but there's been, it's moved, it's progressed every month.
And what Alison just said, like, it actually amplify what we try to achieve. Like, when you are on your own and you have a certain things or certain experience in work, you may feel like it's at me or it's my failure or what actually is happening. But when you hear others have share similar experiences, it's more systemic. That's why having the network helps us to raise this and show the leadership what we see as obstacles, what are our challenges, and then the communication has started.
Definitely. Question back to all of you then. So in a year's time, if we're sitting here again doing another podcast, what do we want to have achieved in that year? Josie, I'll go to you first.
For one, obviously, because there's a lot of work going into the gender pay gap, that we have a better structure around it and how we are going to, as Micheál has said and stated over the last couple of months, there is an issue with our leadership and our management teams that there is not enough diversity. So I'm hoping that we can help the board, see, identify and act on it and see how we can get more women up on that org chart and more female faces, and not just females, but obviously other identities as well, so I know it's a big task and it's not an overnight thing, so I would like to see a lot more progress around that gender pay gap, and the policies as well that we're looking at. We have a maternity policy that the girls are looking at. They're taking their time with it, but it's something that they've felt was quite important about the return to work after having a baby. You come back with so much anxiety about your job role, never mind having to leave your baby at home. So it's something that there's a key team within the committee that are looking after that as well. And not necessarily people that are even on the committee, they're just sharing their leadership advice and what they've experienced, both for themselves coming back and for parts of their team coming back. Obviously, to win more awards would be fantastic, because why stop at 2 awards? We need to keep going. I think Alison, my thinking about the awards, like it's a pain in the arse to have to put in a submission, but when you write it down on paper to see what we've achieved, it's just fantastic. And I think this year I want to focus on getting out to sites and spreading the gospel according to the women's network. Because I think a lot of sites don't know what we do and what we're at, so it'd be good to share what we're doing and entice more people to become either an ally or an active supporter or a non-active supporter of the network. That's where I'd like to be for the next 12 months, to say we've done all that.
Excellent. And Magda?
Josie said quite a lot.
She did.
But yes.
Not like me.
But I could say I feel very lonely in my legacy advisor role. I'm on my own.
For now.
And maybe just explain what that legacy role, is.
It's still to be discussed how it would look like. But now I'm a soundboard for Josie. I'm there to give my view or share based on my own experiences. But what I would like to see is others will join this part of the network, like legacy advisor, because it's mean the network is progressing, and we made a place for other women to experience how is it to lead the network, to progress, to develop. And now, being here in that corner on my own, I take a pride seeing someone who take my role and start develop in that field. So I felt like I make a space for other women, and that feels very good. And I want everyone to have this experience in this feeling, because it's very empowering.
I think as well, Alison, just to say about the legacy role as well, it's important that you can step away, you can come away from it if it's too much. We always say, like, we have a chair, so I have a chair, I have a co-chair with Monique. Every department we have within the network has a co-chair, somebody that can take the slack when you're a little bit overwhelmed. But then when you get to the point, like Magda's always made it very clear, that she could only commit to this for a certain length of time. So that's why we created the legacy space, that you can still be an active member, as such, as Magda said, a soundboard, somebody that, if you need to just let off, or just get a bit of advice, or just somebody that's been part of the network from early days, that knows the whole background with it. The intention for me when I step down is to join Magda on the legacy on the legacy bench. We'll never be on the bench. But that we'd be happy to support the networks coming forward, like from our experience, and help guide to make sure that our vision and our mission doesn't get lost,
of course,
throughout the successions.
And Micheál, what would you like to see the outcomes of the Women at Dornan for the next year?
There's three things for me. First of all, taking the low-hanging fruit, and that is site facilities. Site facilities for women, site PPE, female products on site. When this was pointed out to me recently, I was somewhat embarrassed that we hadn't done more on this ourselves without it having to be pointed out to us. I just took it as a matter of course that we were doing a lot of this, because you walk the sites, you see women there, you see them wearing PPE, you see female facilities and so forth. But actually, when you dig down into it, you realize that things are not maybe as good as they should be in terms of access to female facilities, in terms of security around female facilities. We've had instances, for example, where female changing rooms and so forth were on occasions being used by men as well, which wasn't appropriate. And also the need to have female products on site. So that's particularly the sites that we're in control of. So that's the key thing for us. And I think that's relatively low-hanging fruit that we should be able to implement in the next 12 months. The next one then is I'd like to see us recruiting more women into the business. I'd like, if people get to see these podcasts and get to understand what we're doing, that hopefully we'll be seen as an employer of choice for women, and that women will want to come and join the business, and that they'll see that, look, this is a business that really does care for all people and does care for women and the progress of our women. And then the third thing is I suppose, going up the pyramid, and what Josie referred to in terms of the pay gap. It's about really promoting women in the business, and having them. We're looking to do a lot more now around succession planning and so forth, to have very deliberate succession strategy within the business, whereby we're identifying potential future leaders, and that we're supporting them, and that we're mentoring them, and that we're putting structured learning around them to help them progress their careers and progress within their business. And we very much want women to be part of that. And for me personally, if we don't see a female leader, at the upper echelons of our business in the next 2 to 3 years, then personally I'd consider that a failure. So that's something that I'm really keen on.
We look forward to seeing that. Excellent.
We identified 3 of them yesterday, didn't we?
We did, yeah. It wasn't just the 3 of us on a call.
Very good, very good.
We have the roles mapped out. It's okay.
Yeah.
We got this.
We got it.
Excellent,
We got it.
Excellent.
Josie, for I suppose anyone that wanting to join the network, how do they go about joining?
So obviously, you know, everyone's talking about International Women's Day. Everyone's talking about our first anniversary. We're going to do a campaign after that then that you can join. You can find out more. For now, like if you want to join, you just look up. For now, you just look up Dornet. You'll find where you can enroll the different member options. As I said before, it's active and inactive. So you know, the active is that you are part of the committee. That you're meeting every 4 weeks with us. You're meeting in your little teams. You're committed to the mission and vision that we have, and the goals we are after setting out. The new year, just Christmas gone, we set out our goals now as well. So. That's pretty much how you can enroll right now. But as I said, we're launching a big rollout to come on board, because again, like the girls have been there for a year now. I'm conscious of that. We need succession. It's a it's a hot topic with Dornans at the moment, succession planning. So you know, we need fresh blood, because it keeps the energy up. It keeps the innovation, the ideas and everything up and going. So, you know, I really would encourage anyone that's either just joined the business, just wants to know a little bit about it. You can reach out to myself. As I said, go on to Dornet if you're not sure either. But yeah, join us.
Great. Right. So to ease us out of this podcast, I have a quick fire round. This is Josie's idea.
Coffee?
Tea or coffee? Tea or coffee?
Yeah.
Who do you want to...
I realize now that I should have read the agenda for this meeting.
Okay, no thinking. No thinking. Just shout.
You're going to be Hall first. You're going to be Hall first.
Oh, mother of God. Think of that.
I think I do it all in one go, will I? Just shout out your response. Tea or coffee?
Tea.
Barry's
Coffee.
tea.
Barry's tea.
Barry's tea, yeah.
Early starts or late finishes?
Early starts for me, Anya.
Early start for me.
Early start.
Yeah.
Your most used phrase in your role in Dornan?
I can't say mine. I'll have to be bleeped out.
What do you say on a daily basis?
Oh.
Mother of God, I think that's
Like that?
No way.
And Josie, we can bleep it out.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
Not again.
Yeah.
And the final one, one word to describe Dornan, your life at Dornan.
Mine is family. I'm 13 years at Dornan's. I've met my husband at Dornan's.
Haven't we all?
Haven't we all, Alison? You know, I still in contact with the guys I worked with in my very first job in Wexford. Like, you know, you do build friendships as well as, you know, work colleagues. So no, I like our wedding last year was 80% Dornans, because you know you do build such a family unit. You're 40 plus hours together in a day, and especially I think when you're on site as well, it kind of gels you more together. You're all in the trenches. You're all trying to get that project over the line. So like I in a way I miss site, but I'm still, you know, very actively involved with sites and stuff. So I still get that from not having to get things thrown or language been thrown around in office. So no, it's family. It's definitely family.
That was your one word, was it?
My one word.
Magda? I think banter.
Banter, yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
People.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Micheál?
I would say autonomy, and I'll give some context to that as well. I've worked at a number of companies over the years, been very fortunate, but certainly Dornan is the most autonomous company I've worked for. And it was very evident from once I joined the business. We're very flat leadership. You know, we support our people to make decisions. We give them the authority and the autonomy to make decisions. We make decisions really quickly. You know, there's no bureaucracy in the business. And I think that's the reason why the company has been so successful over the years, and why the company has been so agile and so flexible. That really we just empower our people to go out there, do the right thing, make the decisions. We'll support you. You'll make mistakes. We all do. Mistakes, you know, experience is derived by mistakes. But make decisions and make the right, you know, and do things for the right reason. And that's really central to the whole ethos of the business, autonomy.
Absolutely, yeah. I can feel that as well.
And how about you, Alison?
I probably would be with Josie, and I would say family. You know, there's like
We are family.
I joined the company years ago, and then I left for a while, but I kept in touch with so many different people, you know, and that are big parts of my life, you know. So, yeah, I really missed the culture when I left, and I always knew walking out the door the first time that I would be back. You know, I just felt like I just needed to do something else, but I knew I'd come back eventually.
That's a fair point. I mean, it speaks to the point I said about we're not bureaucratic. Like there's no bureaucracy here. There's no hierarchy here. You know, everybody's the same and everybody's treated the same, and it really does build for friendship and a family spirit. Yeah,
definitely.
That's a good point.
Well, thanks, Josie, Magda, Micheál.
Thank you, Alison.
Thank you very much.
For being
It was very
fantastic
insightful.
host.
Thank you very much.
Well done.
My debut.
If you ever want to take this up professionally, Alison, I think it could be your next call.
I don't know about that now. Whoa.
Well done.
Thanks
Thank you
very
much,
everyone.
guys.
Thank you.
Okay, take care.
Thank
Bye-bye.
That's it for this episode of the Dornan Diaries podcast. A big thank you to our guests for sharing their time and insights, and a thank you very much for listening. If you have enjoyed this episode, could you please like, follow and subscribe? We'll see you next time on the Dornan Diaries podcast.